a teacher for the last 12. About 18 months ago, I sat down with 6 very close teacher friends, and we wanted to redesign and reimagine a school for Denver. And we're targeting the Southwest, the Northwest, really the areas in between Barnum Rec and Fairview Elementary. It's our home. It's where we want to open up. We have a very eclectic board of directors, and I'll be introducing them during the Q&A portion at the end. Our neighborhood's mission is to combine open mindsets with an infinite and adaptable education, helping young people to gain skills necessary to be successful in career, college, and life. We envision doing this by crafting a school environment that focuses on fun, adaptability, creativity, and systemic equity. Our mission and our core values come to life in our school community at large. How? We have daily community meetings, both before and after school, where we celebrate each other, set goals, and challenge ourselves in everything that we do. We have community lunch, where every student, teacher, and administrator sits down and enjoys family-style meals together every single day. We have monthly community events for students and parents and families and community members. We also partner with real community superheroes. This guy's named Sean Trungo. He's working at Station 6 down the street, otherwise he'd already be here. We want to partner with real community heroes, bring them into our schools, give our students a glimpse at the kind of people that are actually giving back to our communities, our society, and the people that they love. Who do we need to lead a school like this? Our neighborhood school is a teacher-powered school. Our leadership team is comprised of 5 members, 4 of which are half-time classroom teachers in our school. This puts decision-making power at our neighborhood in the hands of the people who know our students and community the best. It creates high levels of accountability as our leaders are able to spearhead initiatives and make decisions to quickly adapt to the needs of our communities. Our neighborhood's leadership team and teachers are evaluated by our community, our board of directors, and our student achievement data as well. So how are we going to ensure that all students achieve in our neighborhood? We're a one-to-one school, which means that every student has a digital device. We boast 3 hours of personalized learning time each and every single morning for each and every single student. We use content and curriculum created by our teachers for our students. The digital nature of what we are doing at this time frees up our teachers to spend more time one-on-one and face-to-face with our students than in any other school model that you're going to find. Additionally, this lets us create an incredibly equitable system for some of our community's highest risk students. Whenever possible, we push our special education, gifted and talented, and language services into our personalized learning blocks. Our neighborhood does away with the notion that students with special needs must be separated from their peers in order to receive an equitable education. We envision a learning community where our special ed students can sit right next to our gifted and talented students who are sitting right next to our second language learners. And we can bring each and every one of them the resources that they need to feel confident, to be successful, and to see themselves as true equals. This kind of learning will transform lives, and we will make our mark in this community. Every day after community lunch, our students will engage in 2 hours of project-based and problem-based learning. Our classrooms become the world around us as we take our magic school buses. Yes, our magic school buses out into Denver's surrounding land and cityscapes to bring relevant and real-world applications to the skills that students work to master every morning. We have already partnered with the Denver Center for Performing Arts and Think 360 Arts to make this project-based learning time a powerful reality for our students, but they're not the only ones. We're partnering with the University of Denver to become a hub for their fellowship teaching program, so that not only will our neighborhood be molding the students of tomorrow, but we'll be crafting the teachers and the school leaders of tomorrow as well. We've received grants totaling over $150,000 already to fund work and preparation next year. We have initial partnerships with the Donald K. Foundation, the Daniels Fund, and the DPS Imaginarium. Our neighborhood unites people and organizations under a banner that calls for a new and innovative approach to equity in education. All students in our neighborhood are capable. All students are valuable. Every single one of us has superpowers. Come find your superpower at our neighborhood school. Thank you, everybody. Somebody
Can we introduce the board?
Yeah. So we actually have seven highly qualified, very eclectic members on our board already. Many of them are here tonight. If you want to stand up, if you're not too embarrassed, please stand up when I call your name. Savannah Valdez was born and raised in Southwest Denver, right across the street from Eagleton Elementary. She's a mom. Go ahead, give it up for her. Give it up for her. She's a mom of two young ladies in the Southwest and also a preschool teacher in St. Rose of Lima right down the street. Philip Garvin is the co-founder of HDNet with Mark Cuban. He's now the CEO of Colorado Studios. He's been a well-known philanthropist in the Denver area for years and years and years. Very grateful to have him. Karen Walsh is running around here with a couple of her kids. She is a downtown Denver business owner. She was a former member of the Denver Children's Museum Board. She's also a very well-known philanthropist in the area. We're very lucky to have her. Brian Weber, who's standing right over here. Brian founded and was the initial executive director of the Denver Language School. He's now the principal at Global Village Academy in Fort Collins. He brings just a tremendous amount of operational knowledge and has really been a huge resource for us in the last 18 months. Mike Bowlby, standing over here somewhere, senior vice president at the Great Western Bank. He manages charter school loans in Arizona and Colorado. Chris Smers, standing back here. He is an engineer at Intel. He has been working to craft our vision for our Magic School Buses. He actually has a prototype for our mobile internet connections that he brought with him tonight. We are very lucky to have him on the board as well. And certainly last but not least, Charlotte Broadkern, longtime DPS teacher. She is an artist, she's a performer, she's a musician. She has taught in DPS for something close to 20 years now, has just a tremendous amount of experience with community outreach and fundraising as well. Yeah, give it up for our board, everybody!
Tell me more about your parent engagement. Give me some examples of what you have in store.
We have two committees for not only parent engagement, but also for parent involvement in our leadership. We have our traditional SAC, which is the School Advisory Council, which is comprised of parents. We've also created a second language advisory council for our school. This is something we came up with, something new. We, as a father who has a multilingual child of my own at 7 years old, we value multiple languages. Not students just learning English, but students learning multiple languages. We want to celebrate that. We want to invite our parents of all cultures to come and celebrate a multilingual and a multicultural community, and we are going to use that to gather data as well as really help steer the course of our school from a second language perspective.
I was just wondering what your 3 hours of personalized learning looks like.
Yeah. So it sounds scary. It's actually, for anybody who has experience in the classroom, very typical. We're looking at about 70 minutes of gamified mathematics. If you guys want more information on that, I'd certainly be more willing to share. 35 to 45 minutes of gamified writing skills, and then targeted small group work with our young literacy learners. For the remaining portion of the time. We're also going to be leaning heavily on the autonomy of our teachers to use that time wisely to service their students, our students, as best as possible.
You have another question back here?
Mike, I know we talked a month or so ago, but I don't remember how you intend to build your student body. Are you looking to turn around the school, or are you looking to do a grade at a time?
We want to go where we're needed. I mean, as a group of teachers, like I said, with over 60 years of teaching experience, almost entirely working with impacted demographics, with communities that need us, we want to go somewhere where we're needed. If the district calls on us to head man a turnaround, that's something we're ready to step up and do. But we have a board of directors that's very interested in finding us temporary and permanent facilities at this point. Yeah. Yes,
Question about the online learning component of the school.
So we actually got a grant from the DPS of Engineering, and we've been working on this for months now. We are screencasting math lessons and a little bit of literacy lessons at this point in both English and Spanish. Some of our Spanish screencasters are sitting in this room right now. We are looking to create skills content that is entirely equitable, starting with 2 languages and potentially expanding to 3 and even more languages as years ensue. So really, we're looking for students to be self-directed with large portions of that time. I mean, taking pages from many of the recent books or the recent tactics for personalized learning. Gamified math. We want to push agency onto the students. We want them to take ownership of what they're going to learn and how they're going to learn it. And we want to be, as teachers, a guide on the side instead of the sage on the stage. These students are going to need to be adaptable. They're going to need to learn far more than what we're going to teach them as the world very quickly changes. And they need to know how to go out and find that themselves. It's our job to teach them.
Can you talk a little bit, since you did say you were willing to turn around to school, can you talk about the decision then to become a charter and not a district-run school?
Our leadership model basically calls for it. So as a distributed leadership with half-time admin and using a consensus model of leadership that we've modeled heavily after the Articles of Partnership from the very successful Denver Green School, we have to be a charter. We don't have a choice. And we have a very interested board of directors that brings lots of resources to the table, and we don't want to look past that.
We're talking with the kids, with the special needs, with the other kids, not separate them. I don't have my daughters, they're in a special need, but I do have nephews and cousins, all that. Do you think it's not going to be overwhelmed for them? How are you going to work with that? And I don't want to be selfish, but you have a kid and you want them to learn. And sometimes when you have a special need, you want to go a little, like you have to step a little down. So how are you going to work with both for both of them to learn at the same time?
So with a large part of our instruction happening on digital devices, teachers are almost 90% of our classroom time is free to work one-on-one with kids. So students who need it for special ed purposes, students who need it for language purposes, gifted and talented students, students that have social emotional baggage that they bring along with them, that need coaching, that need mentoring. We have more time to establish relationships with these kids than any other school model. They're going to have teachers, coaches, specialists flooding their rooms, working with them, really tweezing them, training them, teaching them how to cope with, how to be successful in a traditional environment. I mean, that's our goal. I mean, we want these students to grow up and be successful in college and be successful in career. And in order to do that, some of them are going to need more coaching than others. We have a model that provides for that.
Can you just talk a little bit more about these gamified math programs?
Yeah.
I got like Khan Academy on
Yeah.
one side and then cool math games. It
Yeah.
just seems like somewhere in the middle maybe.
Yeah, so, well, Khan is certainly where the inspiration comes from. So anyone who's familiar with Khan can have kind of an idea of what we're trying to do. We're creating basically units or levels. The current platform that we're using is Edmodo, but we can very easily change it to Google Classrooms or something else. It's comprised of 4 things. So the students get digital instruction, they get digital skills practice, and then they do projects independently or in small groups, and then digital and adaptive assessments. Meaning if they bomb these tests, if they bomb these assessments, if they blank during instruction, it kicks them back into the cycle to re-instruct, re-practice, and retest. And we find just tremendous success with so many different groups of students that are really invigorated by this process. GT students are no longer held back by other students in the classroom. Second language learners are able to have their teacher repeat themselves and repeat themselves and repeat themselves and repeat themselves without having to raise their hand and draw the attention of the rest of the class. Sorry, did I go too far there?
Well, so there's like data like this has worked, like this particular program that you're talking about?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we're taking a lot of what we're doing from Bergman and Sam's Flip Your Classroom. I mean, if you know anything about the Flipped Classroom, we are not going to lean so heavily on internet connections at home. We can't. We're going to be doing a lot of that in-house in our classrooms and really controlling the Flipped Classroom from within our school.
Me encanta todo lo que está explicando, todo lo que está diciendo, y mi pregunta es, o más bien estoy entendiendo que es una escuela que no tiene problemas económicos o que tiene suficiente apoyo para sacar adelante cualquier programa, incluyendo una un estudio personalizado. Es así, no tenemos que preocuparnos porque cada vez que queremos mejorar algo en nuestras escuelas, el pretexto es no hay dinero. Y entonces, para que no quede solo en hablar, sino que se vea también ese éxito en cada una de estas escuelas.
For what I hear you say, it sounds like everything I like, everything you say, but it sounds like there will be no economic issues that will play into this. You talk about support that they will get, all the personalized education, so no worries. I mean, we always hear about how there's less money for schools, and I was just wondering that this wouldn't be just talk.
And this is part of the reason that we are choosing to go charter. We have opportunities to do fundraising. We have our Dean of Operations is going to be heavily involved with fundraising for what we need for our school. Our Board of Directors is going to be heavily involved with funding and making sure that our ideas can actually happen. Our budget is tight. All charter school budgets are going to be tight. But we're drawing a lot of attention. We're drawing a lot of resources even now to be a school that is granted as much money as we've been granted before we even exist, before we are even approved, is gathering attention itself in the district. And we're looking to keep the ball rolling.
Me traigo mis hijos.
I'll bring my children.
All right. Yes. Sign her up.
Mike, you talked a lot about culture and getting people to sit around the same table and have a meal and stuff together. Can you talk some more about building a culture among your student body?
Yeah, I think that it's absolutely the cornerstone of what we're trying to do. As teachers who have experienced the classroom for years and years and years and heard the feedback about what's not happening correctly instructionally, while always overlooking these cultural barriers that we have within our school. Students that are disengaged, content that's dated and irrelevant to what these kids are working on. We address those first and foremost as a cornerstone of what we're trying to do. We establish relationships with these kids, real working relationships, collegial relationships with young children. It's important, right? We are trying to guide them to successful lives. You can't do that if your kids don't appreciate and love you. And they won't appreciate and love you if you don't appreciate and love them.
Thank you. That will be the last question for neighborhood schools. Let's give a round of applause.
Yeah.